Raw and SmackDown are at war, Roman Reigns is still sick, and apparently Kane is the hot new thing in the company that we've got to push to the max. What a wrestling world we're living in. Hello, What Culture? My name is Simon Miller, and this is indeed Raw Ups and Downs, where we go through the show and we give the good things a smiley face, and we give the bad things a not so smiley face. And yes, that is the most positive way I could put that, because I'm a positive chap and I just love life. I wake up every day and I pump my fist like, woo, another day, and everybody else hates me for it. So strap yourself in for the ride of your life, because it's time to up some Raw Downs. Now, I don't like doing this because I always prefer to start off the show on a positive note, on a highlight, on a happy note, but I can't do this week because the start of Raw, well, let's be honest, I didn't like it, so it's getting a down. Just as an aside, I actually am enjoying all the Raw versus SmackDown stuff, even though WWE doesn't care about that for 11 months of the year. So technically, it makes no sense when everyone does start to care, but I'm not going to worry about that. I like the feud, I like the program, and I'm interested to see where it goes. And it was cool seeing Kurt Angle in the ring as the entire Raw locker room stood on the aisleway, because that made sense as well. They were there to protect their general manager just in case SmackDown invaded again. So that was good, and that bit gets an up. However, then Stephanie McMahon returned, and it was like we got on a time machine and went back in time. I don't mind that she came back here, but why is it the exact same stuff that we saw before? Stephanie's mad at the current GM, threatened his job if he didn't do well at Survivor Series, and it's just Mick Foley all over again. And that wasn't particularly fun a few months ago or a year ago, whenever it was. So why on earth would someone backstage go, let's just do that again? We've done it, and it wasn't great then, so don't do it again now. She did make Angle the captain of Team Raw for Survivor Series, and that's good, because now we can have a proper build for Kurt's returning, come out in his singlet with the music, and we'll all go crazy. But I just wanted a different version of Stephanie McMahon. A different version of Stephanie McMahon here would have been most welcome. But yeah, anyway, it certainly seems that if Kurt does fail at Survivor Series, he's going to lose his job. Brilliant. Great. That's the story. Again. A quick up for The Miz, Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel arriving to the arena late though, because I just got a kick out of it. It certainly seemed like Bo Dallas did get a little pop from the crowd as he is back and he's over his illness, and that was lovely. And Kurt Angle yelling at them for not helping out last week and being late this week. Just nice. That was it. It was just a nice little segment. I sat there going, this is really nice. Nice that when you got a hot cup of tea on a cold Sunday morning, you're like, this is nice. Hashtag nice. It's another down after that though, because then we had Nia Jax beat Bayley. I don't know why. So yeah, down. The weird thing here is that Alicia Fox is taking her captain of the Women's Survivor Series team way too seriously. She came out in a little hat, and she made this match between Nia Jax and Bayley, and when Nia Jax did won, she did say, great, that means that Jax is now on my team. So I guess Angle, without telling us, has made Fox in charge of the women's division. So thank you for filling me in with that piece of detail. I will say, to be fair, I did actually find Fox's performance here quite amusing because it was so silly. So that's good, because usually I expect noise, as we discussed last week. There wasn't that much noise. It was just silliness, and silliness is better than noise. Why we had to beat Bayley again though, well, I don't know, but I never know. At this point, I think it's fair to say WWE doesn't really care much about Bayley, or they don't care about wins or losses. You choose. Leave a comment, you know how it works. It's all good in the hood though, because then Samoa Joe made his comeback to Raw, and I love Samoa Joe, so that's a huge up. He got a good reaction from the crowd, pretended he was going to reciprocate, and he turned on the fans and yelled at them, said he hated them, which is good because Joe is better as a heel, therefore he should be a heel. He is still a heel, everything's alright. This did bizarrely lead to a match between him and Apollo Crews. However, he whooped Apollo Crews' ass, so that's good. And then he turned on Titus O'Neil and he whooped his ass too. Now this better not lead to a feud between Samoa Joe and the Titus brand, because no one needs to see that in Joey's main event, so he should be at a main event level. But if he does just kick their ass for a few weeks, that's fine, as long as he then moves on to other things, because again, the Samoan one is amazing. Also, it did feel like on commentary that Joe was being pushed really hard here, and I like that. I was spiffing. We then had a very random match which saw The Miz defend his IC title against Matt Hardy, but you know what? It was really decent. Getting it up. Not much more to really say about it, other than it's quite clear Matt Hardy's treading water until Jeff is ready to return. But at least here, we got the IC Championship on television, and sometimes it's not even mentioned, so at least now it's a focus again. And that was it really. A nice way to fill some time, but filled my time, it did. Moving on. Following this, however, we got a squash match between Asuka and some jobber. Colour me confused. Getting her down. I'm alright with the undefeated NXT champ just running through falls, but what is her main story arc? Because I'm absolutely baffled. She had 2 kind of competitive matches with Emma. Now she's just beating up nobodies. What? I don't want to nitpick too much because it's still early days, but it was a bit baffling. And while we have got to this juncture, I just want to say that it sucks Emma, Summer Rae, and Darren Young got released because it's never nice to see people get released. So I hope they all do well in the future. Next, things got interesting. Now, I don't really understand what the plan is with Daniel Bryan, but I'm intrigued. It's getting it up. He did pop up backstage with Angle here, which did get a bit ridiculous because Kurt Angle acted like he was a ghost or like the devil had arrived. Kurt Angle went absolutely crazy, and that was a bit stupid. It is just Daniel Bryan, a man that WWE has told all of us can't even hurt like a fly. Ridiculous. The point though was to establish once again that Bryan isn't on board with what Shane McMahon is doing, and that gets me excited. I would be alright if the SmackDown GM did go through a turn, because imagine a bad Daniel Bryan. He's already really mischievous. If he was then allowed to be even more mischievous, that works for me. I want to see where this goes. It got better later in the evening too, because Daniel did run into his old friend Kane, and well, the big red monster wasn't happy to see him. He popped up when Bryan was on his phone and everything went dark because Kane's got magic powers, but also because in reality, Daniel Bryan isn't allowed to be touched. We're not allowed to see this, and then he whooped Bryan's ass in the dark. It was a nice way to progress with all this SmackDown versus Raw stuff and left you with a little tease that maybe Daniel Bryan is coming back to the ring. He isn't. We weren't done with Kane on this night either, because then WWE went into roller coaster mode, so bear with me. Firstly, we had a good match between Finn Balor and Cesaro, and that gets an up. I mean, I don't think these two could actually have a bad match, but it was weird because Finn Balor won, and given what happened last week, you're like, what is the plan here? What is the plan? Then, however, Kane turned up again, and he tombstoned Balor's ass up on the rampway. I am going to give WWE an up because they have in a couple of weeks made Kane feel like an absolute beast again, and that's actually quite smart. But what are we doing with Finn here? What is going on? What is the deal? Who am I? Who are you? What is life? What is love? What am I meant to do? Are they feuding? Because it kind of feels like they're feuding, but it also kind of doesn't. I'm baffled down. Also, give me more knowledge, because then after this we saw Kane take on Seth Rollins, and Kane beat Seth Rollins. I tell you, that Kane, he is a hot up-and-coming daddy. And again, I get it too, he's clearly being built for Strowman, so that when Strowman does defeat Kane, it makes Strowman even stronger, and I'm alright with that. It makes all the sense in the world. I just don't understand why we're using future main eventers to get there. Rollins, Balor, crazy. I mean, it doesn't really matter because everybody wins and loses on Raw anyway. Kane will probably lose next week to, I don't know, Hornswoggle. Hornswoggle will come back and beat Kane and we'll be told, well, you never know what's going to happen. But all of this was a little bit too nuts. I don't really understand the line we're going for, so it's getting it down. I should point out that Rollins didn't lose clean because the bar got involved, but still, the history books show that Kane is just the most dominant superstar ever, and I'm alright with that because, as I've said before, I want to marry Kane. A quick down because on this Raw, it was also made very clear that in WWE's eyes right now, Gallows and Anderson are nothing more than jokes. Why? Because they lost in a Halloween match to Heath Slater and Rhino. That's all you need to know. I don't know what's going on. Let's close the door and walk down the street. What does that mean? Thankfully, that does bring us to the biggest up of the evening, because Braun Strowman did return and it was so stupid and over the top. I loved every second of it, so of course, as I just said, it's getting it up. It all started earlier on when The Miz got the fear that maybe, just maybe, Braun Strowman was in the arena. So he went to Kane to help and Kane was like, ha ha, you're on your own. So he went to the bar to help and the bar were like, ha ha, you're on your own. So he thought, screw it, I'm going to leave the arena. And Kurt Angle was like, you're not allowed to leave until after the main event. Eventually he did try and bolt, and guess what blocked his limousine in? That's right, a garbage truck, and WWE here was trying to make out that this was the same garbage truck that was at TLC, which is absolutely ridiculous, but it was great because then Braun Strowman popped out the back and he just laid waste to everyone, and yes, pun intended. Now he mostly whooped Curtis Axel's ass, including throwing him through a table, but it was just so good. Braun Strowman is like a cartoon character, and cartoons are really fun, and I like watching cartoons. Therefore, I like watching Braun Strowman. It was nonsense at its finest, and I guess eventually we'll shift into Strowman versus Kane. But I tell you, he's the best thing on Raw. I think he's great. I think he's wonderful. Braun Strowman, what a hero you are. I salute you, and I'm going to salute you with my left hand too. And in between all of this, Elias came down to the ring to do a concert, and then Jason Jordan broke his guitar. Down. Plus, we had the quickest cruiserweight match ever when Kalisto beat Drew Gulak. Down. Hilariously too, super heel Enzo came out to a massive cheer, so that's going well. However, the banter between him and Gulak was actually quite funny, so that's getting it up. The main event for the evening, though, was a rematch between Alexa Bliss and Mickie James for the women's title, and while once again they had a decent match, everything around it was so odd, so it has to get it down. The finish came out of nowhere, where Alexa just smacked Mickie in the face, and that was it. Unless I missed something. I mean, I did get quite tired watching Raw, but I sat there like perplexed. It was just so out of nowhere, and all of this felt aimless when all was said and done. I mean, I like Alexa as a champion, and I imagine her and Mickie James will both be on the Women's Survivor Series team, but still, this was strange. And that was Raw this week, and while I have given it a lot of downs, overall it was a very entertaining show because of the good bits. Like, Braun Strowman was genuinely hilarious, and while I didn't like the stuff with Stephanie McMahon, it's still a talking point. It still made you go, oh, we can have a chat about that. And I always enjoy having a discussion about wrestling. Also, I do like all this Daniel Bryan stuff. I'm hoping he does go heel and teams up with like Owens or Zayn or something and creates the greatest group in WWE history. We'll have to wait and see, but ultimately, yes, I thought it was an okay show. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about last night's Raw. And then you like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and then make sure you head over to WhatCulture.com to read some more articles and follow WhatCulture on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE. My name is Simon from WhatCulture, and if you're new, yes, I'm your man for ups and downs, which means Raw, SmackDown, pay-per-views. I tell you what's good, I tell you what's bad, and you say, Simon, you're wrong, get out my house, and I'm like, I can't. It's a pre-recorded video that you chose to watch.
Hey guys, thanks for making it to the end of the video. Aren't you a star? Don't forget to subscribe below, and also the people who made this video, they're right here, so go and follow them and give them some love. If you want to see more content, there's probably some stuff flowing up above my head. Why not check it out? It could be fun. I'm not your dad.